transport. We also provide tents, chairs, and lowering machines. Find us in Lusaka at UTH and Charleston. Contact us on the number 0976 161213. That is 0976 161213. Or contact us via our 24/7 hotline on 0975 442107. We also have branches in Monze, Luansha, Chongwe, and Livingston. Ozeron Funeral Services. Come for affordable and quality services.
Wow, that over there is a very nice Ford. Have you seen it?
Of course. I have been looking at it since we got here. My worry is how people manage such vehicles and where they buy genuine parts from.
I'm sure there's nowhere else apart from Shuma Auto Parts. They are the only supplier of genuine Ford and Mazda parts, which comes straight from the manufacturer. They have everything in stock for both latest and ordinary Mazda and Ford. They also stock service parts such as diesel filters, air con filters, diesel pumps, steering pumps, turbochargers, engine overhaul gaskets, suspension parts, and body parts. If they don't have parts you're looking for, they can order within 5 to 10 working days. To top it up, Shuma Auto Parts also supply Maxxis tires and CST tires.
Really? But where are they found?
They are found on Chandram Sonda Road, Cruiser Auto Workshop in Lusaka. Call on 0979 192057 and 0960747235. Email shumaautoparts@gmail.com. Shuma Auto Parts for all your genuine vehicle parts.
The Happy World of 5FM Radio, your adult contemporary radio station in Zambia, connecting you to the newsmakers and events that make news in the global village.
Good evening. This is the 5FM News at 18:30 with Judith Mwape. The headlines. Lusaka province leads in GBV criminal cases. Retired health workers called upon to help the fight against cholera outbreak. Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger ECOWAS exit of deep regret to AU. And now the news in detail. The Zambia Police Service Victim Support Unit fourth quarter gender-based violence data analysis has revealed that the country recorded 11,746 GBV reports during the fourth quarter of 2023. Of these cases, 8,451 were criminal cases, while 3,295 were non-criminal cases. Lusaka province recorded the highest GBV criminal cases with 2,618, followed by Western Province with 1,099 cases, Copperbelt Province 882 cases, and Eastern Province with 832 cases. Further, 8,451 criminal cases were recorded during the period under review, compared to 7,664 criminal cases recorded during the fourth quarter of 2022. Police Public Relations Officer Ray Hamonga says the 2023 fourth quarter GBV disaggregated data indicates that 2,730 child victims were abused countrywide, representing 23.2% of all the victims of GBV. Mr. Hamonga has said in a statement that out of the 2,730 children, 1,952 were girls, while 778 were boys. He said 6,808 women and 2,208 men were abused countrywide. He also explains that from 8,451 GBV criminal cases reported countrywide, 1,529 cases were taken to court, resulting in 296 convictions and 8 acquittals. He disclosed that 139 were withdrawn and 1,056 pending in various courts of law countrywide, while 4,252 cases are still pending under investigations. Health Minister Sylvia Masebo is calling upon all retired health workers, among them nurses, clinical officers, medical licentiates, and medical doctors, to help in running mobile clinics and oral rehydration points amid the cholera outbreak. Ms. Masebo believes that through their service, the retired health workers will help resuscitate cholera patients who may delay coming to health facilities. Ms. Masebo has underscored the need for experienced health workers to resuscitate the suffering patients, some of whom she says may need to have intravenous fluids administered as they await transportation to static health facilities. She regrets that many people have died in their homes or on the way to the facilities, hence joining forces as one people, one nation, and one society is cardinal to have zero cholera deaths. Meanwhile, the country has lost 10 more lives in the past 24 hours, categorized as 3 community deaths, while 7 deaths reported very late to treatment centers. The minister says the country also recorded a total of 377 cases in the last 24 hours, while 375 individuals have been discharged, signifying improvement in the interventions put in place. Further, Ms. Masebo disclosed that 1,888,112 individuals have been vaccinated in hotspot areas. She said this includes a total of 3,793 health workers vaccinated and 3,634 people vaccinated in correctional facilities, and that the vaccine coverage of the targeted population is at 98%.
Our people who have died in their homes on the way to the facilities are way too many. Need join forces with all that we have as one people, one nation, and one society to have zero cholera death. As a result, we are now calling upon all those retired health workers, such as nurses, clinical officers, medical associates, and even medical doctors, to come and help us in running mobile clinics and oral rehydration points. Through your service, we can help resuscitate those patients who may delay coming to our health facilities.
Mount Meru Zambia Limited has donated 1,000 liters of fuel to government in an effort to help accelerate the hauling of garbage in cholera hotspot compounds by the Lusaka Integrated Solid Waste Management Company. Speaking when he presented the fuel card to Permanent Secretary for Administration, Mambo Hamaundu, Mount Meru Limited Marketing Manager Edify Hakabwandi stressed that the complete eradication of cholera required the power of collective actions by all stakeholders, irrespective of business status. Mr. Hakabwandi said his company is optimistic that the donated fuel will significantly help speed up the hauling of garbage from the cholera hotspot areas that include Matero, Kanyama, Chawama, and Mandevu in Lusaka. And receiving the fuel donation on behalf of the ministry, Mr. Hamaundu said the government is elated with the positive gesture that stakeholders like Mount Meru Limited had exhibited in the fight against cholera. He said this is because addressing issues of waterborne diseases required efforts from the private sector as well as supplement what government is doing. Meanwhile, Mr. Hamaundu implored local authorities to continue clearing off any blocked drainage as well as strengthening the collection process of solid waste from markets, bus stations, and other public areas. This is according to a statement issued to 5FM News by Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development Public Relations Officer Chila Namaiko. The Ministry of Education has encouraged stakeholders to establish a collective consensus and ensure all irregularities contained in the Zambia Qualifications Authority (ZAC) Bill 2024 are addressed to ensure its approval during Parliament's next sitting. Speaking during the consultative meeting on the Zambia Qualifications Authority Bill of 2024, Ministry Permanent Secretary Joel Kamuko says although the bill was unanimously approved and submitted to Parliament for enactment, it was not considered at second reading and was then withdrawn. Mr. Kamoko says over the last 10 years, the Zambia Qualifications Authority has encountered a number of challenges with the current act, which include overlapping of roles between it and appropriate authorities, as well as the omission of some important provisions that could have augmented the core functions of the authority. He says it is against this background that in 2019, the Ministry of Higher Education then initiated consultations with stakeholders in order to amend the Zambia Qualifications Authority Act to address the identified challenges and to align the functions of the authority with the best international practices to ensure recognition of qualifications. Mr. Kamoko says it is therefore imperative that stakeholders bring out whatever issues they might have with the bill and reach a consensus so that when the bill is presented to Parliament for enactment, it will be supported.
To address the identified challenges, there was an urgent need to introduce new provisions in the Act, which would strengthen the mandate of the authority and ensure compliance by appropriate authorities with guidelines prescribed by the Zambia Qualifications. Consequently, the ZAC Bill was developed in order to align the functions of the authority with the best international practice to ensure recognition of our qualification. It also affirms our commitment to ensuring that we put in place adequate quality assurance mechanisms in higher education for the recognition of qualifications regionally and internationally.
The Lusaka City Council has impounded and clamped 30 trucks for parking in unauthorized areas as part of its ongoing operation to enforce the parking regulations in the city. The operation, which was conducted this morning by the Council Police in conjunction with the State Police and the Council's Engineering Department, started at 06 hours and ended at 11:30 hours. Council Assistant Public Relations Manager Nyambe Bulumba says the impounded trucks were found illegally parked along Chandwe Musonda and Kafua roads, causing traffic congestion and damage to the road infrastructure. Mr. Bulumba says the local authority will continue impounding and clamping trucks found parked in undesignated spots until the situation is rectified, adding that any clamped truck will only be released after paying a penalty fee of 1,500 kwacha. He has since reminded truck drivers and owners that parking trucks in undesignated areas contravenes Statutory Instrument Number 20 of 2018 and is punishable by law.
We've noted with concern that drivers park their trucks on roadsides. The situation that contravenes the statutory instrument of 2018, and in the process of our inspection, we have managed to clamp 30 trucks, and this is to ensure that we bring order and sanity to the way trucks are being parked in the city. We advise truck drivers to ensure that they use designated places in as far as parking their trucks is concerned.
In other stories trending this evening, the Zambia has scored an improvement in its Corruption Perception Index (CPI) with 4 points from 33 out of 100% in 2022 to 37 out of 100% in 2023. The Zambia Alliance for Agroecology and Biodiversity says it remains concerned about the importation of genetically modified organism middle meal from South Africa into Zambia through the Zambia National Service managed Eagle Milling Company. Up next to business news.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
The African Continental Free Trade Area Secretariat has convened the 13th meeting of its Council of Ministers responsible for trade from 30th to 31st January 2024 in Durban, Republic of South Africa. The council was preceded by the 16th meeting of the Committee of Senior Trade Officials held from 26th to 29th January 2024. Minister of Commerce and Trade, Chipoka Mlenga, is leading the Zambian delegation accompanied by Dr. Simon Ngona, Director of Foreign Trade, and officials from the Zambia High Commission in Pretoria. Speaking on the emergence of the meeting, Mr. Mlenga said the meeting marks another milestone in the quest to unlock Africa's trade potential through the AfCFTA. He said to boost intra-African trade, the continent has embarked on the gradual elimination of tariffs on 90% of goods and the reduction of barriers to trade in services aimed at increasing Africa's income by $450 billion by 2035. Mr. Mlenga explained that it was for this reason that Zambia was committed to participating in the Guided Trade Initiative and the fully fledged Free Trade Area. He also urged Council members on the need to adopt progressive provisions on the proposed rules of origin for certain products and also recommended that this exception should be time-bound and that efforts should be made towards building this industry so that it is self-sustaining. That ends the business news.
5FM Radio Business News. We mean business. Keep you current in commerce, trade, and industry, local and global. It's our business to keep you informed about business.
And now in foreign news, the African Union has declared its deep regret over the decision this weekend by military regimes in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger to pull out of the Western African regional bloc, ECOWAS. Those three nations accused ECOWAS of posing a threat to their sovereignty. They had all been founding members when ECOWAS was set up almost 50 years ago. In a statement on Tuesday from Moussa Faki Mahamat, the AU's Commission chairperson, calls on regional leaders to intensify the dialogue between ECOWAS leadership and the three aforementioned countries. Nigeria has also rebuked Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger for leaving ECOWAS, saying they were letting their people down by quitting the group. Here's a roundup from the BBC.
An Ethiopian official says close to 400 people have died in the northern regions of Tigray and Amhara due to drought-induced starvation. Ndeli Haile, who leads the Federal Ombudsman Institute, told the BBC the deaths occurred over the past 6 months. Uganda's opposition leader Bobi Wine has called for civil disobedience and what he called a moral uprising against President Yoweri Museveni, who's been in power for 38 years. He told French television that he feared for his life because the regime was bent on eliminating all challengers. A film documenting Bobi Wine's presidential bid in 2021 has been nominated for Best Documentary Feature at this year's Academy Awards. In its latest World Economic Outlook update, the International Monetary Fund says the global economy is on course for recovery this year and next. It predicts global growth of 3.1% this year and slightly higher next.
And finally, in sports news, Russian ambassador to Zambia, Azim Yerakhmadov, and FAS President Andrew Kamanga conferred this morning over wide-ranging football matters. During the meeting held at Football House, also attended by FAS Secretary General Ruben Kamanga, the Russian envoy pledged to spearhead a memorandum of understanding between the Russian Football Union and FAS, which will culminate into a friendly match between Zambia and Russia. The Russian envoy offered scholarships for 2 Zambian students wishing to pursue physical education and administration. Yerakhmadov congratulated the Chipolopolo for having qualified to the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations in Cote d'Ivoire. FAR's President Andrew Kamanga also welcomed the Russian envoy and called for a speedy implementation of the MOU. Kamanga says FARC will wait for the delegation from Moscow to come to Zambia to finalize the proposals, adding that the friendly game would be a perfect occasion to mark the 60 years relations between Zambia and Russia. And now the weather report brought to you by Class Econ.
Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ Roofing, plot 17100 off Katanga Road, 150 meters from Mumbwa Road, Chinika Industrial Area, Lusaka. Class Econ Roofing. Class plus economy. Class Econ. Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ.
Northwestern, Luapula, Northern and Muchinga provinces are partly cloudy, slightly windy and mild with isolated rain and thunder. Western, Southern, Copperbelt, Central, Lusaka and Eastern provinces are partly cloudy, windy at times and mild with a chance of isolated rain. That ends the weather report.
Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ Roofing, plot 17100 off Katanga Road, 150 meters from Mumbwa Road, Chinika Industrial Area, Lusaka. Class Econ Roofing. Class plus economy. Class Econ. Class Econ Roofing Africa. Class Econ.
And that weather report brings us to the end of the news this evening. But before we go, a recap of the top stories. Lusaka province leads in GBV criminal cases. Retired health workers called upon to help the fight against cholera outbreak. Mali, Burkina Faso and Niger ECOWAS exit of deep regret to AU. For more news, follow us on Facebook, 5FM Radio Zambia. On behalf of the entire news crew and the technical department, thank you for listening to the Happy World of 5FM. Stay safe and stay tuned to 5FM Radio. I'm Judith Mobe. Good evening.